Again, with my apologies, to call a meeting to order. Has anyone anything they'd like to add to the agenda for this evening?
Just the change of the gentleman who's visiting today.
Right. I understand there's no reason for an executive session this evening. I believe we could proceed by moving right to the scheduled member of the public, Mr. Simmons, is it?
That's me.
Yeah, after that, we'll come back to approval of minutes, road business, etc. Sir, thank you, and thank you for coming.
Thank you very much for having me, and I really appreciate your moving me up in the schedule so I can go home and play in the snow. So my name is Tom Simmons. I live in Chester. I'm a partnerships specialist with the U.S. Census Bureau, New York office, which is a fancy way of saying I'm not the guy who knocks on doors taking information. What I do is I'm in charge of going to community groups, town boards, senior centers, Rotary clubs, Lion clubs, all throughout Windham County, Windsor County, and Sullivan County, New Hampshire. I got a big territory. In preparation for the 2020 rollout of the census. Just so everyone understands what's happening, and when the phone calls start coming into town hall, you know what's going on. So we have to do this every 10 years. This is the decennial census. It happens in the years ending in a zero. And this is, and the Census Bureau does other surveys in the years in between. So sometimes people will say, well, I just did the survey, 2 years ago, or someone just came to my door. That's not the decennial. That's really just information gathering. The decennial is important to the town because, first of all, it determines the reapportionment. And while it's not likely that Vermont's going to get a second congressperson in Washington, it is likely that it will change the configuration of local representation in Montpelier. And in Windham County especially, one of the concerns has been the number of senators in the state Senate, because a lot of indications have shown that population has fallen in Windham County relative to some of the other counties. So we want to make sure that everyone gets counted. Everyone gets counted once, gets counted in the right place. The second reason, and this might even be the more compelling reason that this is important, is because $675 billion every year at the federal level is allocated to the states based on these numbers, and they're locked in for the next 10 years. Mm-hmm. And the programs that are attached to it are school lunch programs, women, infant, children, special ed, funding for local schools, which, as I don't have to tell you, has a big effect on property taxes, and it's a big part of your school budgets. Meals on Wheels, Medicare Part B, first responders, economic development grants, fuel assistance, housing rehab. There are a lot of programs that our local people benefit from and that bring dollars to the community based on these numbers. So it is of utmost importance that everyone gets counted. Now this year, there's a lot of changes this year. So if you're used to what's happened in the census in the last 10 years ago, it's different this year. Starting in March 12th, that's the actual rollout of the general census. Every household will get a letter from the Census Bureau inviting them to take the census online. For the first time in history, online will be an option. Which for many people, that's going to be great, and we're hoping it actually helps to elicit some good response. If they don't respond in a week, they'll get a follow-up. Hey, we haven't heard from you. Go online or give us a phone call. It will be available online and on the phone in 12 different languages. And a week later, if we haven't heard from you, it's, hey, what's the matter with you? We haven't heard from you, do it. By the first week in April, because that's really the official census date is April 1st, anyone who has not responded in one of those fashions will get another notice from the census This time the form will be in it. Now, the issue that could possibly raise its head here, all right, is that not everyone has access to the internet. Not everyone is comfortable putting things like their birthday over the internet. In particular, obviously there are some problems with some rural access issues. But from my discussions with other groups in other communities, there's a large number of senior citizens who are reluctant to do this. And as soon as they hear me say you can do it online, there's some fear and trepidation there. They will get the form. They will get the form. They can do it the old-fashioned way. However, we've got to make sure that they don't get the first mailing from the census, see it says online, throw it away. Get the second one saying go online, throw it away. Get the third one saying, hey, go online, throw it away. And then when the fourth one comes, throw it away. Because these are not addressed to people. The census is not addressed to Jane Smith. It's addressed to 15 Blueberry Hill. It's addressed to occupant at. So we don't, we want to make sure that people, especially older people and people without internet access, don't get into the habit of throwing away bulk mail from the government addressed to occupant, telling them to go online, right? And in Newfane in particular, one of the things I do is pour over all the statistics for all of the communities like crazy. There are no red flags. You don't have proportionately larger numbers of, let's say, seniors or minorities or foreign-born than any other town in Vermont, but 23% of households still are seniors, which is typical of Vermont. So there's a, you know, you got that red flag there. We don't want people to avoid doing the census because they think they have to do it online and they've thrown it away. There's also a number of people who just don't like responding to surveys, who ask, why is the government asking me this? Why do they have to know this? A big change this year as well. There was no long form census. No long form. It's been done away with in the decennial. So no one's asking how much do you make. No one's asking what's your roof made out of and how many bathrooms do you have in your house. It's simply what's your name, your address, your phone number, your birthday and age, how many people live here, race and gender, and you're done. It's simple. It's also extremely confidential. We are not permitted by law to release any individual or household information to any law enforcement agency, to immigration, to ICE, to the local building and zoning inspector, to the school district, because a lot of people, you know, they overthink, how is this going to affect me? I'm on the lease, but my boyfriend lives with me, so I shouldn't put him down. No, you should. Well, I've got someone living with me in the garage or in the RV in the backyard. They're not supposed to be, so I don't include them. You're supposed to include them. None of this, you know, gets shared with any agency. And I can say that till I'm blue in the face, but that doesn't stop people from being reluctant because they don't know how the data is being shared. So, bottom line is, to wrap this up, it's important to your town for all of those funding programs I mentioned that we get an accurate count, that every single person is counted. And I mean, we can do what we can do at a federal level, and we will be doing a lot of PSAs and a lot of advertising and putting out a lot of information. But you're the trusted voices in the community. It needs to come from the community. It needs to be a bottom-up effort as well as a top-down effort. The more that there's talk in the community that the census is coming, and this is important for our town, the better the response is going to be. We know that for a fact. Now, I was really happy to see you have a poster at Town Hall for census jobs, because it's much better. If you don't respond, we're going to knock on your door. And it's much better if someone can say, hey, Joe came to my door last night with the census, as opposed to some guy I've never seen came to the door and asked my phone number. Is this legit or not? Everyone who comes to the door, we want to hire locally. So, push that. The jobs pay $17.50 an hour, And even though they don't start until, say, April, we start training them in February, and they get paid from that point on. So it's a really good part-time, flexible hour job that'll last through the summer. They'll all be fingerprinted. They'll go through a federal background check. They'll all have these tags. And the police will be notified before people go out. And they'll have official Census Bureau placards in their car and on their iPads. And I tell you all that because 10 years ago, down south, there were scammers who went door to door and said, hey, I'm from the census. Can I see your ID? What's your social security number? We're not asking any of those questions. It's the basic questions that I just went over. So if anyone is doing that, you know you got some scam artists in the neighborhood. The other thing you can do, and these are just some ideas I'll throw off you. If the town has and I don't know if you do, a listserv or a website or some way of communicating with the public. Some towns have newsletters, some have
Website.
I am happy, and I do this for 80 different towns, to put together small blurbs, small articles about the census. Each one pretty short, each one focusing on something different: confidentiality, the importance of counting children. A lot of children. We undercounted 1 million children 10 years ago.
Wow.
And that's usually due to complex living arrangements, and no one is quite sure where to put them, but they don't get counted. I can forward those to you if you're willing to do that. The town report. A lot of people read the town report because what else are you going to do in February? We can put a blurb in there. Same thing. If there are groups in the community that are particularly have a really good outreach, let me know. But I need you to let me know who they are, because I don't know who they are. In some towns, in many towns, it's the senior lunches. I've been doing a lot of senior lunches. In some towns, it's the Rotary. In some towns, it's a particular church or an interfaith group that just has a lot, they have their fingers all over the community. If you can open those doors, I had one town clerk say to me, my sister runs 3 different Meals on Wheels programs. I'm like, really? She goes, yeah, let me give her a call. And boom, we got information to a whole bunch of people. So if there's any people I should talk to, if there are any organizations I should work with in town, any special events where it might be appropriate to have someone from the Census Bureau there, let me know, and I'll be here. That's my job. But I need to hear from you, and I need you guys to talk it up in the community that this is important. It's important for us and our town. If you've got any questions, I'm more than happy to answer them. Everything I just said, I'm leaving in a folder for you.
Well, it's interesting that you said that you're just trying to, it's for governmental funding opportunities
Right.
for your community. Like, I'm over 50 years old, and I don't know what they were doing with my information, why they were gathering it. So to have an answer of the reason why makes sense.
Sure. And once you submit the information, they check it to make sure it's not a duplicate.
Yeah.
Right? Because college students are often duplicated because mom and dad say, I'm paying the bill, so I'm putting them online. But then they answer their own census. So once we've checked there's no duplicates,
Yeah.
it gets divorced from you personally and it's aggregated.
Yeah.
And that's it.
Yeah.
So we could never tell you that little Sally Jones is 3 years old and lives at this address.
Right.
But we can tell you that there are 200 kids between ages 0 and 5 living in this town.
Yeah.
So
It's really a body count.
it's exactly that. It is a body count.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter whether you are literally legally there,
Yeah.
whether it's not a zone building for living in because you're, as I said, you're living in an RV in the woods.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter if you are related. It doesn't matter if you are a citizen. None of that matters. If you're a body in the town, you impact that town, and that town has a right to count you when it comes to competing with towns from across the country for these programs.
Makes sense now.
One place you might want to reach out to is the Newfane Congregational Church. They do a lot of meals and gatherings and such. I'm not sure who the point person would be, but they do a lot for the community.
Do they have regular, like, monthly senior meals, or maybe even more than that? Or?
Yeah, isn't that the senior meal slot?
They do that, yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
I can also send you a list, Tom, because I've got some
ideas.
information already.
I would love you.
Yeah.
I would love. I do about 9 of these kind of events every week, and then I do the follow-up events and the meals. And I'm speaking at the Springfield Lions Club tomorrow night. I'm the featured speaker. So this is what I do. So.
And I'm the Lions Club chair for Valley Lions for Newfane. Well, for the West River Valley area.
And you having a dinner or a meeting? And you need a speaker?
Sure.
Sure?
Yes, definitely.
Do you want to email
I
it to
will
me?
email it to you.
Excellent.
Yeah.
See, that's why I come to these things.
I'm also part of Newfane Anew. I can also mention to them at our next meeting.
What, Newfane Anew?
Newfane Anew, it's a community volunteer group,
That's perfect.
and the fire department, so I'll reach out to you.
And we have 3 dozen different flyers that are geared towards different communities, and sometimes it's just good to have those on hand.
How many employees are you looking to hire for the?
Good question. We are looking to hire 9,000 people in Vermont, in the state of Vermont. That's how many we're recruiting. I can tell you, we are 30% towards our goal, and training starts in February, and we're behind. We're way behind.
Okay.
Because unemployment is so low in Vermont right now.
Yes, yeah.
And for whatever reasons, people don't get excited about going door to door in the end of March and early April in Vermont. Can't understand why.
Yeah.
Yeah, I have to time out. I have to laugh. We have all these posters at the Census Bureau of people, happy census takers going door to door, knocking on the door, and they're in short sleeves, and it's sunny out. And there's all these green bushes. It's like you don't know Vermont. in the first week of April, really, with your muckers on.
Yeah.
So that's all awesome. Thank you.
How many hours are devoted to taking the survey or training for the program?
Well, actually, the training, you do it online at your convenience. Then we have a meeting, and let's say we had 5 or 6 people from Newfane. We would probably ask, gee, can we come to town hall and do a training session here, so to make it easy for people. And then they're also getting their background checks and stuff. Pretty soon you're in March, and at that point, we may have them working full-time immediately, because before we do the door-to-door stuff, we actually have to go to all of the group quarters, assisted living places, any places where there's a group home. And they have to work with the administrators so as to not be disruptive to get all that information. So there's opportunities even before the actual door knocking to actually be working. And it lasts through the summer. Okay?
Awesome.
Thank you very much. I really appreciate it.
Well, thank you for braving the elements and coming down. Appreciate it.
A gold star.
My reindeer got a good workout.
There you go.
Great to meet you, Tom.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
If we come up with new questions, you'll get them.
That's great. I'm your point of contact for any questions you have in the census. You've all got my card, so.
Thank you.
Perfect.
Okay, we return to minute review, approval of minutes of November 18th. If you've had a chance to look them over, someone willing to make a motion for their approval?
Second.
Discussion on the motion. Hearing none, I'll call for a vote. All in favor of approving the minutes of November 18th, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Thank you. We had a budget meeting on November 25th, and there are minutes that show.
We need to continue that as 2 of the members here now are at the meeting. So we have to continue that to the
Yeah.
next.
Good point. Thank you.
There isn't a road foreman's report tonight because Jay was out plowing.
Fairly understandable.
We continue that as well.
Okay. We'll move then to one of us, the administrative assistance report highlights.
With budget meetings underway now, that has been where most of the focus has been this week. A few more requests for social service appropriations have been received, and I will include those in the copies to you in my email on Friday. And I'm working right now to update the renewal for SAM, which is the system for awarding management that allows us to seek federal funding for disaster recovery. And that is wonderful. It's a challenge.
When's that due?
I have 2 months to finish it.
Are there areas where you'd like help?
I think Jay's gonna have to come over and help me.
Okay.
Yeah,
Is there a lot of questions? Is it like a re-registration?
it's a renewal of the
Oh, it's a-
registration.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. I just did the renewal, but it was just a yay, okay, and I got through it with it. Okay. Well, I can help you if,
Awesome.
okay.
I will keep
Thank
that
you.
in mind. Thank you.
I've done it.
And that's it.
I make a motion to accept administrative assistance report.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion on the motion before us? Hearing none, all in favor of approving the administrative assistance report, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Unscheduled members of the public?
Thanks for coming.
Okay, we have the traffic ordinance on our agenda for tonight. And I would dearly love to have the road foreman here for that discussion.
Yeah.
I agree.
And I don't think there's any push rush on that. So I would suggest we put it off to a future agenda, and I'll try to see to it that it comes up again. New business, health insurance. Turning to you for information and help.
Thank you. The increase is in the spreadsheet that's attached to your packet tonight. The family plan has gone up $318.33 a month. And if we continue at a 2080, which is 20% increase for the employee and 80% that the town picks up, the family plan will cost an employee an additional $63.67 a month. The town's share would be $254.66, and that breaks down to $14.69 a week, added to what the employee pays weekly. It would be $82.46, and that's 87%. That the town's share is picking up.
So our share would be 82.46.
The employees, each employee that has a family plan
Yeah.
would be paying $82.46 a month.
And what
A
would the,
week, I'm sorry.
and what would the town be paying?
$3,055.97.
That's a year.
Oh, per year, yeah.
What's the weekly increase for the town?
You would take the $254.66 and divide that, you would times that by 12 and then divide that by 52. Let's go here.
Because that's at a weekly rate, you're saying, right?
Yes,
Or a monthly rate?
Both.
I'm not sure.
So 254.
60 points,
66
yeah.
times 12.
12 months? Or are we talking weeks?
12 months, because there's 52 weeks in a year. So you times it by the 12 months and then divide it by 52 weeks.
Oh, okay, gotcha. I guess. Because this is at a yearly rate increase, yes?
The yearly rate
Oh,
increases a total of 3,819 apiece.
Okay, so that's, or you can just divide that amount. I'll let you, I don't know.
The town share would go up $58.76 a week on a family plan. And then the individual and the child is listed there as well. It would be an increase of $5.23 per week for an individual. And I could tell you that,
Again, okay, go ahead.
90 times 12 divided by 52. It would be
Pardon me for interrupting, but I hear a radio. Does anyone know where that's coming from?
$20.91 a week difference for a child, for an individual, for the town's portion.
Well, just going back to the chart again, I mean, the family, it says the increase. What is that a weekly increase, that first column?
That is a monthly increase,
The 318,
is a monthly
and
increase.
there's 63, 20% of that a month.
So
Mhm.
20%,
So you go
okay.
20, so then you divide that by 4, it's 63. So for,
4.333, right, per week? Is that how you do it?
Melissa,
so the increase is like,
each individual,
about 16,
there's 4
$17.
individuals that have the family plan right now.
Right.
So.
So it's 3,000 something a year, right?
Right,
Is that what you're saying? Then it's 30, is that 318 is a month increase, right?
Right,
And
so,
it's 20% of that would be 63.76, is that what that is?
mhm,
So then if you divided that by 4 for the weeks, right? For weeks paid.
Roughly.
which would be the, I
I
guess
mean, if
the
you're trying to come up by the
1469.
weekly thing, right?
So then I think that goes to the 1469, is that correct?
Yeah, but that's an increase. That's not the total cost.
I wouldn't think that'd be the weekly one, because you know, 4 times 15 would be 60.
the way that Melissa set this up was for each individual that has the plan.
Right,
This would be what each individual is going to
Right.
occur.
well, it does say on the first left-hand column, family cost,
Yeah,
Right,
and then individual cost.
yeah.
right.
Well, that's a family plan,
Yeah,
and then there's an individual plan, which
Plan.
we have one that has that, and then our treasurer is going to have the plan with the adult and child, which is a difference of a premium, because we've never had that one before.
so how many are on the family plan?
There's 4,
4. And 1 individual,
one individual,
and 1 adult child.
correct.
Okay. So we have 6 employees that would be,
Mhm.
or have in the past.
That have health insurance.
And nobody's gonna go and have new health insurance.
No.
Okay. So monthly, so
I
again,
see where I screwed up, where I'm trying to come up with that number. The town's paying 87% of the family.
80%.
Instead of, over here, see? Town pays 87% of the bill currently on family plan.
Okay,
90% on the single individual one.
currently, no, it says family again.
Well, it's supposed to be individual.
Should
'cause-
be individual.
Yeah. And it's based on 90% on the bill of a single,
Single with a child.
right.
Has this information been shared with all the employees?
It has, and unfortunately, we have to make a decision if we're gonna continue with the 20/80 split, because next week is the first week that Melissa will start taking out the deductions.
Yeah, it has to be done this week.
Yes,
I mean, no matter how you look at it, they've got a hell of a deal.
Yeah,
Because
20.
like I said, you know, it's like I told you in one of the other meetings, how this all come about was, it used to be that it was 80/20.
Okay.
That was it, you know, it was,
Like 80 they paid and 20
No.
we paid?
picked up 80% of it,
Okay.
and then they picked up to 20%.
Yeah, that's what
Of
we
the
have
whole
right
thing.
now.
Right, so the whole thing, but see, then what happened was, like I said before, when the Obama plan all kicked in, the big deal at that time, we had $75,000 budgeted that year.
Uh-huh.
And so they threw the 80/20 out the window, because we had the 75 grand, and that's what it cost for the insurance. They said, well, 100% funded. And I said, what are you gonna do next year, or the years when this starts jumping up, how you gonna do it? So then, we should have left it alone and kept the 80/20, because everybody was used to paying that, you know? And, so anyways, what they did then, it came back, and they just charged on the increase 20%.
Oh.
So that whatever it was at that point, you're at this level
Oh, that's
funded.
what we're looking at, just
So
the
next year it went up
increase.
like 90,000, so they paid on just the 15,000 of the increase, you know, so there's
Just
80/20
the
of that.
increase.
Right. So now we're looking, every time it
Not the
increases,
total bill of a
no, because if
plan.
that was a total bill, I mean, if that was the whole bill, you're taking,
What is it, so?
well, the family plan is roughly what, 2,300 a month now?
Where's that?
I think it's 2588 or something like
So
that.
25, so you take 20% of that would be, you know, $500 and some dollars a month.
Right.
You know, so that's like I say, they still got, it's a hell of a deal, no matter how you look at it, you know.
That's a month, but this is taken out on a bi-weekly or
Weekly.
weekly basis?
Yeah, so I mean, it's still pretty cheap. It is real cheap. The only problem we ever had with it was, when we first did this, the individuals come up and said, you know, mine's 700, 800 or 600.
Right.
These guys are $2,000. They're actually making more money than I am. I should get the difference between my 600 and their $2,000.
Right, if we just based it on a single versus a
And
family.
I said, in one sense, you do see that, you know what I
Yeah.
mean?
It's,
Because sooner or later, this is gonna become income to somebody.
Oh, yeah, it's been like that for a long time.
So, I mean, when you figure it all up, you know, it's costing the town $14 an hour or better for a family plan at a 40-hour week.
so how do we feel about that? I mean, is it a point where we
Well,
just make
I
a
don't-
decision?
It's, like I said, it's got kind of so screwed up that it's, the only way you can, I guess now, I mean, it'd be hard to go back and charge everybody 80/20. They'd all get pissed. You know, but I mean, right now it's just 20% of the thing, so then we give them a raise this year.
Melissa talked about that today. It's the
Yeah, we
same
go-
thing that happens with the Social Security and the Medicare. You get the $3 increase, but they charge you the $2.92.
But the
So-
raise is still covering the increase of what they
It
had
is.
for insurance.
Yeah,
I mean, they're still coming out a little bit ahead, not a lot, but a little bit, but then they get the overtimes and then they make up for it and all that.
But they have a
so-
benefit too, I mean, that's a
Well, as I
benefit.
said, the benefit is, it's a benefit, but it's really income too. Because if you or I went out and bought it, for
Oh,
ourselves, it comes out of what I make a week.
yes,
You know, I don't just,
yes,
somebody's not handing me the insurance, you know?
right, right. Oh, it's income. I see what you're saying, yes.
So, I mean, I think the only thing you can do now is just keep going right the way it's been going.
Well, again, it's only 20% of the increase
Right.
versus looking at the plan and what the flat rate plan is and then having us do the 80% of the actual cost of the plan and 20% is by the employee.
Now, let's see, like the 20% though, that goes on top of what they're already paying, right?
Yeah.
Right, so they're already paying some.
Yeah.
So then they're
We're
adding
gonna
that on
add the
top of that.
$14.69
Yeah,
to
but
what we're already paying, and that
Right.
increases it to $82.46.
But if we look at a level field of the price, you know, what is the plan price, the actual plan price
I mean,
per month for a family?
well, it costs the town,
It's not what it costs the town, it's like, what is that plan cost?
It's like $2,500 for a family plan a month.
a month.
Okay, so the 2585. So if you take that number and you do the split on it so that it is 20% and 80%,
As I said, it's $500 a month.
500 for them,
So that'd be $125 a week is what they'd be paying. Which, like I said, even at that, it's still not a bad deal, you know?
No.
You make for $500, you've got insurance. But the whole thing is, you know, the whole insurance really isn't a great gig anyways, because there's a $5,000, $4,000 or $3,000 deductible.
we,
I mean, you gotta pay up front before they do anything anyways, you know?
well,
They're trying to change a lot of that right now, I think, you know, and if they do, it probably would be good, you know?
Well, this,
okay, so my last question is, how much are they paying a week?
Well, that's what I said, right now, it's just gonna go up, to figure out what we're, you know, the increase, what we, for our budgeting purpose, we're gonna go, I think, what I suggest, I think we ought to just keep going the way it's been going.
Yeah, but my question is how much are they paying?
$82.46 will be what the new, if it goes the way Melissa's got this laid out, my insurance will cost me $4,287 a year.
Okay, but that's like the 8246 a week.
Yes.
Versus if we did a regular split, you know, normal 80-20 on the base plan, that would be 125 a week. So that's $50 more.
That would cost me $6,500.
So there's a difference of $50 a week or something. You know, where
Yeah.
we're
I mean, like I said,
eating
it's, yeah, I mean, no, it's all screwed up anyways, whole that insurance.
No, but if you just do the normal, you know, what's the plan cost, and you do 2080, where are we? And you know, they are paying $83 a week versus $125 a week. We're making up the difference between that if we continue on with the current plan. If not, then the real cost of the 20% will be paid by the employee, and that's just for one plan, that's approximately $50 difference a week. That's $200 a month for one person.
I mean, really, what you
And
should
there's
almost
four-
do is to get the individuals, cheap as that is, you should almost give him 100% insurance.
Right, I
What
mean,
they're costing.
that's the other thing is,
But, and like I said, that was a big battle one other time about that whole thing.
or the other thing is have a discussion about that we just pay for the individual, the employee, and not the entire family. If they want a family plan, they have to pick up that family plan.
well, we've got I think, our backs to the wall right now, as far as time is concerned, right? So consideration of different plans, different approaches, seem to be pretty much out the window.
Well, I mean, we can discuss it. I mean, I think we should discuss it as being responsible for the budget, and where are we at the budget, you know, are we able to, I know appropriations got shaved a bit, so, you know, where are we in the budget? Does it look like we're increasing taxes significantly if we keep at what we're doing?
Well, I don't know what kind of an effect it would have on taxes if everything every increase has some. But again, Juanetta suggested a few minutes ago, I believe, that we're going to have to take some action on this so that the town could be signed up.
Open enrollment, if there's any changes that the employees want to take, if they decide that this becomes too expensive, open enrollment ends next week.
But they all know what is proposed and what,
Yeah,
and they've all signed on.
yes. Right now, they're just looking at it and waiting for an answer from the board.
I suspect that my basic feeling on this is that it's a shame that it's as late as it is, that this did come to the board. It's not necessarily anyone else's fault. It may have been our fault. We should have been thinking ahead a little bit more. I would recommend certainly to the new board that they get on it and look at it and have it strongly, firmly in their minds as they go forward. Certainly to the point where if they wanted to, they could go out and get some alternate proposals. For now, I feel as if we're done.
Well, the whole thing is, I mean, isn't there just two insurance groups you get to choose from? It's only a couple things we have options on anyways, right? As I say, you can't shop this, really, you know?
Oh, no, to the extent that you want to stay with this particular provider.
All that plan, right?
But there are other providers out there. I'm not saying that there's anybody that we want to go running after, but other insurance companies that the town does not have to stay.
Right.
No town has to stay in this.
Well, I think that, for like I said, for right now, I'd leave it just the way it's gone. And let's do it like that, but we're definitely gonna have to start doing things, because like I said, when this all started out, it was 75 grand.
Yeah.
It was gonna be affordable insurance, affordable insurance, well, $2,000 a month, 2,500 is not affordable insurance, by no means, for anybody. And I said that, I think we should probably just go with this and get it going. But just like Pete said, meanwhile, we better look at it some other way because I mean, this is just going up every damn year. I mean, we went up this year, how much altogether? Like 15 grand, 16,000?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was an increase of $1,500 a month
Per person?
per the plan.
Yeah.
The whole thing.
Okay.
She makes out
18 grand.
yeah.
I mean, that's gone like that every year.
Mhm.
So it's gone from from 75,000 up to 100 and some $1,000. Then they're doubling.
What's the total budget cost of this? Healthcare? Employee benefits, health insurance town cost,
Yeah.
97,000 was the budget,
Last year.
and actual today is 54,000. We're at 55%. That's a lot of money for how many people?
6.
6
Yeah.
people.
Well, we've got, it's been a lot of money for the town and for the program for so many years. I would entertain a motion to approve the proposed addition to insurance premium as outlined.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second it.
Is there discussion on the motion?
I think we should instantly, start making a plan to look at healthcare policies for the upcoming year, for the next year. And not just,
Well, it would be for budgeting 1 year from now.
yeah, but we're in budgeting right now and we're late
Well,
with the health insurance review.
we're not going to do a health insurance review because this is what we're,
No, I understand that,
yeah,
but
okay.
we're behind the 8 ball, you're saying, and we're making
What you're
this-
saying is
So we need-
coulda, shoulda.
Unfortunately, because insurance is year to year, January to December, we run a fiscal year of June to July.
Right, but we should be looking at it
Yeah.
starting in June, 6 months in advance.
Okay, I think we have a motion. Is there further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Any abstentions? Okay. Planning Commission amendment, is there any other new business to come before us?
No.
Okay, among correspondence is a Planning Commission amendment to the zoning bylaw. Planning Commission, you probably,
In your correspondence folder in front of you, there's a highlighted copy.
okay. There's been, as I understand it, a fair amount of interest in Newfane for natural burial. And you'll have to talk to somebody else to get exactly what that is. I am not in a position or knowledgeable enough of the whole thing to tell you. The purpose of the amendment is to allow conditional use of natural burial grounds in Newfane's resource districts. Copy of the proposed amendment, bylaw amendment report is enclosed. I haven't read the draft amendment. I see something right off the bat in that statement, those two lines I just read. However,
There's a hearing date.
yeah. There is a hearing Thursday, week from Thursday, December 12th at 6 p.m. in this room. And so anyone with an interest or concern is invited, and even harder than that, ordered, asked to show up.
Can I ask a question?
Surely.
Did they have to have a certain number of signatures from the,
No,
they didn't,
no,
to move ahead on any of this?
no.
It's not required.
They go through a process. If they feel that it's a
Viable
viable
thing.
amendment, it's a good amendment, they hold their hearing, send it to us, we hold our hearing, and if we think it's a good thing, it becomes an amendment to the zoning bylaw after 30 days, I think.
So it'd be important for people that did not want this to happen to show up at that next meeting and voice their opinion.
Yeah, people with questions.
Questions
Yes.
and comments.
Yes, no question about it. As I suggested, there are two opportunities, Select Board, second, Planning Commission, then Select Board. Same, basically the same thing. Hearing, warning,
I just wondered if the signatures, that sort of kind of qualifies a percentage of the population.
the if a significant population of significant percentage of the population came to one of the hearings, or both of the hearings, yelled, screamed, stamped their feet. And the planning commission and the select board said, geez, this doesn't sound like such a good idea.
Yeah,
It's gone.
okay.
Okay, now what's in here that's super secret that I did? It's the same thing. Good. Nothing else in
Just your highlighted sections.
correspondence. It's a good thing I'm colorblind.
December 12th.
Okay. I would say we are up to or down to or over to, unless anyone has anything else they want to bring before us under business, we can move to the business of considering and approving pay orders.
And encourage anybody to come to the meetings.
Next.
Nothing, oh, just one other question. Haven't heard anything back about that property across the street? Nothing?
It's in the bank's hands to do what they need to do with it.
But I did see that that roof came down.
Yeah.
So somebody must have gone in there and pulled it down.
If they pull it down, it just fell down.
And I think somebody went in
Man,
and
I
pulled
don't
it
even
down.
dare go do that.
It was like the same week that that tape went up, that came down, and
Oh,
that was
okay.
one of the recommendations when I spoke to her.
So what's the wrap up on that, I guess, is the
We'll
question.
just have to keep after them.
But they'll end up having to tear it down.
Yeah,
Pretty much unsafe.
yeah.
Practice for the fire department.
Yeah,
Good deal.
that would be a good deal.
Why don't you guys play with that? We'll play
So
with
we're all
it.
set?
Adjournment
Thank you, sir.
would be a good